to the Daily Review. This is Fed Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is March 20th, 2024, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, JP Morgan does it again to new all-time record highs. But first, looking at today's major economic events. So we start at the day, 9 a.m. South African time. Out of Great Britain, we have a core price index, CPI number coming out, and then a big number from the United States. Tonight at 8 p.m. South African time, we have an FOMC Rates Statement, and that's surely to affect the bank stocks. Now, looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, Japanese yen trades lower versus the dollar. And as we look at the indices, both the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ rally ahead of this number today. And looking at commodities, gold and oil, pretty much steady and unchanged. While we look at stocks, Apple and Microsoft actually rallying higher and bouncing, while we saw AMD trade lower. Now, lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin continues to trickle lower to 61K. But first, let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So with this FOMC coming out today, Japanese yen is the first one to go, and it's almost getting to its all-time record lows. I mean, if we look at a weekly or a monthly, you could see that. I mean, it's right there, okay? It's just about, 150 to 151 right now. So question is it going to break lower? Okay, I'm going to look at this very carefully today, especially since we have the FOMC rate statement coming out today. That's going to be a major indicator to this later today. Now, the other pairs, not really trading much, so I'm not going to concentrate on them. So let's just jump into gold, because that may also move today. Now, gold's pretty much flatlined, okay? It's trading at 21.57. It's off of its highs about 50 points. No big deal. However, it is sustaining itself, okay? So it means inflation is still a worry in the market, and that's sure enough to affect the price of gold here. Now, looking at crude oil, trading at 82.40, holding on to its gains, not trading lower. It did gain just slightly yesterday. Now, I do believe we can continue moving higher. Now, we do have a minor resistance area at this 82.40-ish level, so keep that in mind. But if we can clear 83, we could see ourselves back to the 87-ish level. Okay, so keep that in mind. So this may be a turning point for oil as well. Now, jumping into the U.S. markets, we had a nice rally up yesterday. If we look at a 4-hour chart, quite steep. The question is whether or not this is validated, because it's not like as if everything across the board went higher. There were certain things that did go higher, some things that did not. Which went higher? JP Morgan. Okay, that continues to make all-time record highs. We're looking at a weekly. Let's take a look at a 4-hour chart. Boom, just continuing on a steady pace. That's called trending up higher, and that's called with resounding follow-through and volume. Okay, if you look at the volume at the bottom of the chart, you can see that. You'll see that that is coming through. So if this continues to clear 195, we could get to the 200-ish level. Now, JP Morgan is a huge company in the trillions. Okay, so keep that in mind. And this matters a lot, especially with the FOMC rate statement today. It affects the bank stocks tremendously, okay, especially in an inflationary environment. Now, jumping back into the tech, NASDAQ had a little bit of a bounce, nothing really big. Okay, so if we look at the majors, the Apple had a major bounce, okay? It came close. If we look at a weekly chart, it came close to its supportish level, that 200-day moving average, and bouncing off of it, at least for now, 176. Okay, it's not sell-off, it's not, the end of the world, but it did bounce off of a key level. So did Microsoft, 421. We're only about 6 points, $6 away from our all-time record highs. That's a major thing, okay? Also for Microsoft, that's a major component for it. Now, if we looked at Google, it was that had that gap up, okay? It did have a green day. The question is whether it's going to continue to fill in this gap, and that's still on my radar. Now, looking at AMD, we continued to sell off yesterday. Okay, if we look at a 4-hour chart, but we're right there. We're at supportish level for AMD, so this is really very important. Okay, if we look at Intel, we saw some weakness there as well, as it's trading on supportish level of $42 a share, and that's really important level. Now, remember, Intel's the mother of all these type of companies. Okay, now, NVIDIA could be bigger than Intel, but Intel is a bellwether. It's a steady company that's been around for a very long time, and it's the grandfather of all these companies, because all this new spin-offs to the semiconductor and the chip makers really resonate from the original companies. And the original companies, they did innovate, but they didn't innovate with some of the things that NVIDIA is making money off of. So let's just jump straight into it. That's why it's a very important stock. NVIDIA did bounce, okay? Now, not back to its highs, but it did bounce as well as that got stronger also. Now, lastly, let's take a look at Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has made a very important correction. Now, we're first starting out on a daily chart, and we're trading at $62 a share, 62,000, excuse me. I got to always make that switch every time we go to Bitcoin. So it's at 62,000. And 62,000 is not so important. The 60,000 is very important. Okay, so if we could hold above that and not break below, that might mean that we'll bounce off of it. Okay, now these type of spikes are usually followed with a similar sell-off on, which makes it a V formation. So just be aware of it. Okay, you don't want to be caught in any type of situation, and we might get a short squeeze where we have these artificial spikes that happen just because essentially they're just short covering and they get these spikes, and that provides another opportunity to short it again. But you got to really put your finger on the pulse on this and really be defensive before you're offensive, because it trades so quickly. This is Fed Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.